We have the great pleasure to talk to Josh.
Right.
You are?
Guitarist in Stone Sour.
Yes.
So, very excited to be here.
Yes. In Sweden, to talk
Yeah.
about the new record.
Yeah, to talk about House of Golden Bones Part 1.
Part 1.
Yes.
We will not talk about the Part 2.
Not yet. Well, we'll probably get a little bit into Part 2, but...
Okay. So the Part 1 is, it's out in like a month?
Yes. The third week of October.
Yes.
So
24th, 23rd,
Yeah,
24th
24th,
in Sweden,
23rd,
I think. Yes. You have 2 singles out already?
Yes, we released Gone Sovereign and Absolute Zero. So, which is like the beginning of, kind of sets up the story, since it's a double concept record.
What is the story? Could you tell us?
Well, it's basically the main character, who actually is just considered or called the human in the story. He's in like a crossroad in his life, and he has to decide what path that he wants to go down. Does he want to make changes to better himself as a person, or go after these dreams, or just stay just where he's at and stagnant in his life? Which is something I think that every person can relate to. I mean, because all of us are stuck making those decisions, those hard decisions, which ultimately will set our courses on whichever path we're going to go down for the rest of our lives.
Is this self?
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's
I didn't write any of the lyrics. Corey wrote the short story, so it's like I think he said 85% based off of his experiences or people around him, and like 15% science fictional. So yeah, it's his view, and as I said, he's the one that wrote the stories. So.
okay. How do you? He wrote demos, right? And then you all together.
Well, we all
finish it, or how do you do
the process.
create?
Well, our normal process for writing is all of us write musically, and then we get together, and then everybody puts their ideas, and then it kind of grows as a band, and then he'll write the lyrics after all the music and all the arrangements done. This time around, the story was he already had written the story. He started it off with the songs that he had written. Like, I went over there, I think in like October of last year, and listened to like the first 5 tracks that he had recorded, and then we just kind of basically did what we normally do, which is grab everybody's stuff and started putting it together, and then he kind of just got it in the arrangement that he wanted to lay the lyrics down, which is all based off of the short story. Very complex, but it's it's just the way that we've always done it. But I think that's what gives Stone Sour the peaks and valleys in our writing, and makes one song sound different from the others, because you have everybody bringing musically.
No song is the same on this record.
Well,
it's like 1 million songs.
Yeah, well, we take pride in that. We've always tried to push ourselves musically, and really with this record, our main focus was this big story. We didn't go into it going, we're going to write, it's all focused around this one song that, everybody, the record company and the producer thinks is a hit, and then we'll just throw on 10 other songs, and who gives a crap. This was all about this one big story, and every song got the attention that it deserved, and none of them got more than the other, which is one of the reasons why we went with David Bottrell to produce, because you look at his work with The Muse, Tool, Peter Gabriel, it's all art-based, and it's not on that 3.5-minute radio single. So that was the main goal, and was to have the peaks and valleys, and not be... We went into the whole idea also, too, of not being afraid of failure or what people were going to think when we released it. So,
But people love it.
I think they love it because there's a purity and an honesty to the concept and just the music itself. Like I said, it's not this force-fed formula, because right now in the industry, since the industry is honestly in a downward spiral right now, just how everything's changing, the problem with that is bands aren't afraid to take chances. Like that's one thing that I think with the way things are going or are, if a band has success, they're afraid to step out of that because you never know what the consequences are going to be. Unlike 30 years ago, where you could have, a band morph from one thing. I mean, look at the Beatles, for instance. I mean, look where they started and where they ended. It's night and day, So I think those days were gone, and we went into this record with the idea of this is what we are, and I think that's why people are reacting the way that they are to it, because it isn't this, as I said, this 3.5 minute formula of it's got to be these 3 chords and this arrangement, and I'm convinced, at least for American radio, that everybody's using these same drum samples, and that's why, and they're going back and reamping the guitars, and we wanted a really organic, live sounding record, and I think we totally achieved that in this record.
Do you have a favorite song?
All of it, honestly. Like when I listen to it in its entirety. So I mean, to pick one over the other, it's really hard. I mean, I'm proud of all of them. I don't know if I could say that about the previous 3 records. I'm sure I could probably pick one song where I'm like, I don't know. But with this record, I see the big picture of it. Like, you need one song to get into the other, and I think that it's a musical journey, and I think it's also because of what the story is and how everybody can relate to it. I think there'll be certain songs that people will gravitate towards how their mood is for that day, and that's what's cool about it. Like you said, that every song sounds different. Maybe one day you feel a little bit more aggressive and this and that, so RU486
I love that song.
is your song, and then you're not having you are not having a great day or whatever, and you listen to the ballad or whatever. I mean, I think there's a song for everybody from that aspect, but then there's something that everybody can relate to.
True. How did you come up with the idea to kind of borrow some Skid Row for this?
Actually, it was a crazy idea because, we sat down and we were discussing who would play bass, right? And it really it didn't come down to necessarily people. It was like how we heard, how it was being described, the style of playing. And just one night I was just like, I think Rachel Bolan would be great for this. I'm a huge fan of Slave to the Grind. It's like one of my favorite records. And I didn't know how everybody was going to react to it at first, because it's like, okay, I don't know if, how everybody's going to react. And Corey immediately was like, really? I can see that. So he actually had a friend that had Rachel's number, and he called him the next day. And I think Rachel was just shocked that we were asking him to play on the record. And he came in, and he was pro. I mean, he recorded all 24 songs in like 5 days. It was insane. Like, he is such an underrated player, I think. After really watching him work, I'm so impressed at how professional he was, how prepared, and yeah, it was amazing. Unfortunately, he can't go out and tour with us. We tried to make that happen, but his commitments obviously with Skid Row, to ask him to step away for 1.5 years, 2 years, he just couldn't do it. So we're having a friend, Johnny Chow, come out and tour with us.
Very, very cool. Because you're coming back to Sweden.
Yes, the 19th of December.
Very, very cool. It's a kind of big venue.
I'm not sure. We haven't played there. So we're excited about it, though, because we've been told that, obviously, over the course of our career over the last 10 years, every time we come here for each album, the venues get bigger and bigger. Yes. So we're excited about it.
Very, very cool. I have to ask you, it's not been that long since you released your last record, but in between that, it was kind of long. Is it because Corey has a lot of other things to do?
Well,
do you feel neglected? Do you call him? Why don't you? No.
I mean, no. I mean, honestly, I was more concerned because I didn't know how things, you go back a year ago of just where we were at, and I didn't know what was going to happen. I mean, you have to look back to where we left off with Audio Secrecy, and basically within a 3-week period, a band member goes home and the other one has a stroke. I mean, so I think it was more of spending the year of had it run its course than, Corey, you need to come back to Stone Sour.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, of course.
I mean, it was more of, is Roy really, you know, to what degree is the stroke? What is his, you know, rehabilitation going to be? Is he going to be limited? And all that, and the concern of just him. And then once he looked, you know, he was cleared to be healthy, it's like, okay, we got that sorted. Now we got to work, you know, work on the bass player. And I mean, so for me, the last year up until we really started doing pre-production or putting it really together was just wondering if there was going to be a band, period. So
We're glad that it is.
what's that?
We're very, very glad there is.
So yeah, I mean, things happen for a reason.
Thank you. We are Access Rock. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you.